Hello, my name is Greg Metzger, Associate Publisher at New City Press. Welcome to Living the Art of Loving. This evening, we're really just so delighted to both have you here and to have this opportunity to really publicly launch and celebrate Living the Art of Loving, a new book from New City Press that is really the creative genius of Lara Match, who you're going to be really spending a lot of time with tonight and getting to know if you don't already know her. Lara is not only the author of Living the Art of Loving, she's also the illustrator of it. And you're going to have a chance tonight to see some of that writing and illustration for yourself, as well as meeting some of the people who really helped in a community kind of a way to give this book its life. So you'll be meeting some of those people, getting to know Lara better, seeing some of the book itself, and also having a chance to learn about some different ways that you can help to support Lara and the message of the book. So we're really excited that you're here. I really want to turn it over to Lara because she has so much to share tonight, both from the book, but also just some creative things that we did for this evening. So Lara, it's just such a delight. It's great to see you at your beautiful home, and I'm just excited to see what tonight has in store.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you all so much for being here. It really means a lot. And I just want to share a little bit about how the book came to be. So to do that, I'm going back in time before I was born. So if you can picture my parents in their young 20s, pre-kids, they were at a Crosby, Stills and Nash concert, and they struck up a conversation with the couple next to them and became friends. So that couple's, their names were Maria and Valerio, and they were from Italy, and they were super cool. So my parents became friends with them, and they started doing double dates around town. And my dad describes one time when all four of them were in the car together, they're in the back seat watching Maria and Valerio in the front and talking to each other. And my dad said when Maria was talking, Valerio was just so present for her, really ready to hear whatever she had to say. He was like, where'd Valerio go? It almost looked like he was just a container for Maria. And then they'd flip. And when Valerio was speaking, it was like Maria was just there for him, just a container for what he had to say. And my dad, who notices this kind of thing, was like, where'd you learn how to do that? So they didn't answer right away, but over the next few visits, he asked again, and they said, actually, we're part of this global international community that is supportive and inspiring, and the focus is radical love of neighbor. So my parents in that way became connected with the Focolare movement, and that really influenced how they chose to raise their kids. So I'm one of 5 kids. I'm the second. I have an older sister, 2 younger brothers, and another younger sister. And we were taught the skills of the art of loving from a young age. So I remember going to barbecues as a little kid, and you're eating your potato chips and lemonade. And like now as a mother, I'm realizing probably like sticky face, sticky hands, and just gathering around on the living room floor. And there was a woman named Paloma, and she was from Spain. She'd sit down with her guitar and start singing songs about loving. And when you're a kid, this has a lot to do with your family. So it's like getting dressed in cooperation with your family, or brushing your teeth when you're asked, helping to bring in the groceries. And I remember one time bringing in the groceries and just thinking, I can lay this apple down with love. I can put this apple in the bin with love too, so they don't get bruised for the person who's going to pick them up later. Or, you know, we'd get into squabbles over toys or what activity to do. And I can remember just being like sort of short and shoulder to shoulder with my siblings, being like, we need to call mom to figure this out for us. And she could have come over and said, well, who had it first? Or, you know, whose thing is it technically? And instead of coming from that perspective, I remember looking up at her and she's looking down at us, and she would just say, who's going to be the first to love? It was like just totally stepping out of that situation, flipping it over and finding a way to be positive and autonomous. And, sometimes with us, there'd then be a rush, be like, no, she can have it. That's fine. Or like, we'll do my movie another time. Right, love. But it was really a cool thing to do. So as a teenager, entering high school, I developed this really diverse group of friends, religiously diverse, and became really close with all of them. And I'm still friends with them now. The skills of the art of loving helped me, and obviously they were ready for this too, but to be open-minded, to be patient with each other as we encounter different culture clashes. As an adult, I think the art of loving impacts my marriage a lot. Sometimes I've heard people say, like, do you ever fight? And, to the extent that we're able, like my husband Ezra and I do try and approach things together, the challenges that we face with love. Also at work, if you come into a workplace and you bring with you joy and you bring with you empathy, people notice that. So one time at lunch, a coworker said, "You are so calm for a doctor." You're the calmest doctor I've ever met. We can send you difficult patients and it seems fine. And I agree, I'm not easily rattled because whatever the situation is, if you come in and you are open to, and you're looking for the good in the other person, because it's there, it will just so reliably change the feeling in the room and the trajectory of the relationship. So fast forward a little bit to a few years ago, the pandemic hits. And there's polarization of so many kinds. George Floyd is killed, and the awareness of racism rises up again. And there's social media that's just exasperated and violent and angry, defensive. And then sometimes there's, people talking about or wanting justice and harmony and understanding, but sometimes kind of asking someone else to change. And I thought, if there's, I'm starting to get these invites for like workshops on how to talk to people who are different from you. And this is an area I have practiced. So I thought, if there's a time to find a new way to share the art of loving that is fast, that's accessible, that's appealing to a wider audience, this is the time. And in the past, if anyone's expressed curiosity about my life in the same way they expressed curiosity about Maria and Valerio, you want to make it clear, like, this isn't a personality trait. This has nothing to do with me. This is a set of practices that bring harmony in places where it wouldn't be before. And they're also, if they're bothering to ask, it's because you made them feel safe, feel noticed, and feel understood. And so if I was to give it, a real answer, I wanted it to do the same thing. I wanted it to be consistent with that and also make them feel safe and feel noticed and feel understood. So I chose to use drawing as the main medium for this. If I could just draw interactions, a picture says 1,000 words, and that means I'd have a lot fewer words. So it took a little bit of the guesswork out of it, and we all respond to the human figure really well. So figures play a huge, huge role in this book of, the body language of responding to one another that is so often nonverbal. And this is what it looks like. So it's this cute little book, small, flexible, easy to pass around. And this is the layout. Here's one of the pages. We have text on one side and an image on the left. This is about listening in that moment. There's also pages about conflict. I think we've all had moments like these. And also suffering. It's really critical to find a way to hold and to honor our suffering, and also to sometimes set it aside temporarily and be ready to encounter the people that we're going to meet. With those drawings, I chose Sharpie as the main medium. So yes, a Sharpie marker. I brought one here because it is so immediate. And I thought that if I could focus on a few interactions in my life where I felt someone was loving me or I was trying to love them and keep them really fresh in my mind, then it would come through my body and my arm and my fingers, and then it would be on the page in permanent marker, and it'd be there. So I have a little page here, and just thinking about those in the moment. This is kind of how the drawings came to be. They were all just a few minutes like that. Even the more complex ones like this one, this is a real drawing. The size that they are is just Sharpie on a page. And I had a 1-stroke rule. So it had to work all in one take. It wasn't like, here's a hand that I like or a swirl that I like, and then collage them after the fact. It was all drawn in one sitting. Because I feel like in real life conversations, that's about how long we have to get it right with someone else. And I just wanted it to feel that kind of real and authentic. So once I had the drawings of a given sequence in there, I'd put it into the computer and start to type to basically narrate what was happening. And then I'd sit down on the couch, bring it to my husband. I was like, all right, Ezra, here's a brand new, beautiful chapter. And he would read it and he would say, and this would like just drive me really nuts, like a vague kind of, but it was really useful. And he was basically saying, I see what you're going for. I think it's not there yet, like try again. And kind of, we had to be living what was in the book even to get it to the first draft form. So once it was in first draft form, it could be pretty rough. Then we would take it and share it with someone. And this could be 2 people, 6 people, sometimes in person, sometimes on Zoom, because it was still middle of the pandemic. And we would go around clockwise in the room and just have every person read a page. And in that process, you could, their life was enriching this material just by the nature of their voice, but also speaking things out loud. It became really obvious, like which words weren't going to work or were too large or unwieldy, or the sentence structure, if it just wasn't quite right and needed to be smoothed out. So, and then we'd talk about it, how did it sound? What did you think of it? All in all, through this process, more than 60 people reviewed, reflected on, and led to revisions in the content before I submitted the manuscript to the publisher. And each person brings their own life to it. So now, like this week, I'm starting to see pictures of the book arriving in places that I didn't send it to. So I didn't hand it to them. I didn't stock it in the warehouse. I didn't take it to the post office. I'm not standing in the living room with people as this book is arriving in their hands. And while it's meant a lot to me, and it has, it's really opened up conversations and deepened relationships in my life in areas I hadn't been able to address in years. And even ones that I thought were in a good place are being enhanced. And so it means something to me, but then there's this other level of whatever it means to other people. So I got one comment where someone said, oh, after I read this, I went to my drum set and I played out the musical representation of what it feels like in a room when you successfully connect with another person. And there's this explosion of creativity and goodness. Another person said, I want to see this in an art gallery where the images are grown up like life size and you can walk around and have an immersive experience. Someone else thought, oh, this should be a video series. An educator would like to use this in a school setting, bring it to their students. someone who's worked in human resources for the last several decades would like to, wants this to be part of their work training. A mother with a young child who's having trouble expressing their feelings is, wants to read this together and see if it gives them an avenue to come forward. There's small groups or book clubs, that would like this to be their next pick because of the discussions it will lead to. There are counselors who could see this in their therapy. And here we are, like at this moment, and I have done my part, and I can't wait to see what's going to come next. In the short term, very short term, like this evening, I do know what's coming next. And that is, we're going to hear about 3.5 minutes, just an excerpt of the first 2 chapters, and you'll hear multiple voices with that. And then we're going to hear from some folks who have had experience with the book already and share their thoughts. And then we'll wrap it up back with Greg from New City Press, who has a really awesome promo deal leading into the holidays. So give me a moment here and I will share that excerpt.
What is unity?
We all have thoughts.
It takes a moment to even notice that another person is there.
To make room for them, we let go of our thoughts.
This is not easy to do. It takes time and focus.
With effort, we clear our minds and spirits, freeing the space to welcome the other.
We become an empty container for them, so empty that we almost don't exist.
They sense our openness and begin to speak.
Our emptiness draws them out. Like a vacuum, there is a momentum to their sharing as the stumbling blocks have been removed.
We become immersed in their ideas, feeling them as our own. This generates mutual respect and mutual care. In the other person, we find ourselves. The good in them is like the good in us.
We arrive at a state of connectedness and harmony. Here the ideas feel new. There is a clarity that seems beyond either of us. Some people call this unity.
How do we keep unity with each other?
Unity makes us feel comfortable, capable, and creative. Solutions reveal themselves more easily.
Together, even normal tasks seem magnificent.
And just like that, unity can break.
We don't always know why the connection is lost. Sometimes it's ego, apathy, or a flaw we noticed in the other person.
Someone has to be the first to start again.
We both let go of our thoughts and make room for each other.
We are open to the good in them, and they are open to the good in us.
Into the space we've each made, the best parts of ourselves are drawn forward. Our ideas flow with ease and are received with gentleness. We are separate but feel close.
Again, we arrive at that state of connectedness and harmony. Here, the ideas feel new, and there is a clarity that seems beyond either of us. Each day, we build, break, and repair unity. To keep unity, we are as committed to repairing it as to building it.
Thank you. And thanks to all the readers there. Hope that gave you kind of a flavor for what the book is like, and also just a suggestion for how you can share it with other people, trading pages like that. I'm gonna pop over to Philomena, who will be our first in 4 to share her experience.
Oh my goodness. First of all, I want to thank you, Greg, for introducing this book, and then Lara for this just wonderful depiction of and how this book came into being. Really, 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 really wonderful. So my name is Philomena Sheridan, currently residing in Summerfield, Florida. I hail originally from Dublin, Ireland, as perhaps my accent betrays. You may be surprised to learn how I first met the author of this wonderful picture book. Lara was seated in a stroller while her older sister Katie was holding onto the stroller, and I accompanied them on a walk while visiting the Mullins family in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It is no surprise to me that Lara would author a book entitled Living the Art of Loving. Why, that's what she grew up with in her family. And it is what she lives today with Ezra, Ronan, her own family, the Match family, and all the people that she knows. It is also the lifestyle that I was drawn to, as she depicts in the book, what we have seen of the book, when on the 30th floor of Citibank in New York, I was introduced to the Focolare movement. And it's what I try to live today. So when I pick up this little book and I flip through the pages, it speaks to me, calling me back to the essential. I find myself in each illustration. Wow, for example, someone must be the first to love. How many times I have broken unity and needed to start again to rebuild it. Or each day we build, break, and repair. These short but concise texts, along with the simple but effective illustrations, speak volumes. I am reminded, as Lara mentioned, what Frederick Bernard once said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Learning to live and living the art of loving portrayed in this picture book is what is so much needed in the world today. And as simple as the ideas illustrated by the book may be, when put into action, it is without doubt a concrete and effective contribution to bringing peace to our world today. Enjoy the book, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Philomena. Next, we're going to hear from John and Sam Vargo.
Hello, I'm Sam, and this is my husband, John. We just got married in August, so that's still new and fun. And I've known Lara and both her family of origin and her husband's family for a very long time, and John's gone to them in the past couple of years. And so we're both going to share separately what this book means to us, which is related to our relationship, but also speaks to, I think, what is meaningful about reading this, discovering this book with other people, because even though we know each other really well, the things that we take away are totally different. Yeah, something that I have been reflecting on as I've returned to this book and getting ready for this week is just that I discover something new each time I revisit it, and different parts of it speak to me, depending kind of what stage of life I'm at. the first time I had the opportunity to read to sort of look at the prototype version was with Lara and Ezra and one of Lara's sister-in-laws, who's one of my best friends. And I remember at the time, hi Viva, I think you're listening to, but I remember at the time, because I was sitting with Aviva while we did the round robin reading a page, she was the person I sort of was thinking about myself building unity with, and what that meant in our friendship. And we come from pretty different backgrounds and have known each other for a really, really long time. And I found myself really grateful for the images that put kind of a visual language to what I had experienced, specifically with Aviva, but actually also with Lara and Ezra and both of their families, and had seen it lived in practice. And there's something very powerful about being like, yeah, this works, this emptying of self and asking questions and listening, because you don't expect to come from a place where the other person is the same as you. Because I think there's a lot of, I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, but I think there can be a human tendency to, your own experience best, so you think that everybody else should and does think the same way as you. And starting from a place of assuming difference and assuming you need to ask questions instead of assuming is a big part of what I take away from the art of living, the art of loving, and felt that in that time. And then since then, my experience with the book has been much more closely connected to John, and particularly when we were planning our wedding, we kept coming back to there's sections of the book that are about bringing others into your unity. And so we spent a lot of time coming back to pages about groups and inviting other people in. And that I would just look at those pages over and over again. And then, in the first couple months of marriage, we've that chapter 2 where you are in unity and then you break it and you have to learn how to do it again. There's a lot of that happening. And it's been a huge gift to, we have a lot of language and tools and prayer for building unity in all kinds of ways, but there's something really unique about just being like, I think this is what's happening right now. Yeah, okay, great. And we don't have to talk about it. We can just be like, yep, here we are. And now how do we take this step forward in love? So that's a little bit of it. And I guess that's just to say that part of what I love about this book and the way Lara exists in the world is just the newness and the freshness of encounter every time you look at it. And we'll let John talk.
Yeah, I mean, the gift for me is that I walked into the Match household at Passover a few years ago, and the art of loving was being practiced right at that table, and I was the outsider that was welcomed into the community, and I've just continued to receive that gift since then, and was pretty powerful the first time I saw the picture book, because I work best with simple cartoon figures for learning. I have for many years before knowing Lara. This is perfect because now I can see how it's done, because the simplicity of the pictures allows me to place myself and anyone to place themselves in any of the postures that they take up. And then when one of the figures changes their posture, I can physically practice and imitate that posture. And so if I'm struggling to receive the person in front of me due to conflict, I have an image to go back to and say, okay, I need to actually lean forward right now, or I need to lean back and center myself, and I have something to imitate. And it's so beautiful because it's centered on relationship. And I suffer most when I feel like I'm alone. And when I practice the art of loving, not only do I help others to feel that they're part of a community, but then I get to have them as part of my community, and I no longer feel alone. The book goes into when I feel like I'm suffering more than I can handle, all it takes is reaching out to somebody else who is also suffering to realize that I'm not isolated in my problems. And it's beautiful because the picture book recognizes that relationships are daily building and rebuilding. And so I don't despair in conflict, because one of us is bound to eventually choose to love first. And hopefully we start to race to be that one, but eventually one of us will be that one. And I'm really grateful for the book to help teach us that.
Wow, thank you both so much for sharing from your hearts there. And we'll pass the mic next to Ellie.
Hi, my name is Ellie Friedman, and my husband Rick and I live in a rural area on the side of a mountain in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. First, I want to thank Lara for inviting me to offer a few words on what this beautiful book has meant to me. In the past year and a half, it has become bedside reading when I know I may be facing a challenging interaction the next day, or when I just need something short and uplifting to meditate upon. The figures illustrating the pages have no faces and few words of their own, but Lara's pen has instilled them with powerful and recognizable emotions. For me, they have been easy to commit to memory, and the valuable strategies often follow. And these strategies do work to start and improve your communication with others. 20 years ago, out of nowhere, I was confronted with a devastating cancer diagnosis from which it was doubtful that I would survive. At first, I was like Lara's suffering figure who pleads, "Why?" During the months of grueling treatments over many years, I found myself constantly overwhelmed by the compassion and tenderness of all the professionals who cared for me. That, combined with the tender and constant support of my family and friends, slowly woke me up, and I declared, "Why not?" I began to experience life in a different way, one overflowing with honesty, gratitude, humility, and love. So my husband and I left one community and joined the Hizikamuna community and made new friends there, and who reflected these values in their interactions and in their conversations with others. And to me, these values are present in Lara's interpretation of the Focolare philosophy towards living in open and loving communication with others. And the guidelines are so remarkably vivid and accessible to use in all interactions, especially those muddy ones. So let me close by saying that I'm so grateful to Lara for sharing all of her extraordinary gifts with everyone who knows her. I'm humbled by her wisdom and her ability to express her thoughts so articulately. And this little book is truly a gift of love to all who will read it and treasure it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ellie. And next, we're going to hear from David.
Hello, everyone. I'm David. I'm from Mexico. I, as Lara, grew up in a house that tried to live the art of loving. So from a really early age, I've been kind of around these concepts of unity and loving first. And I remember when I was a little kid, we used to have meetings with other kids, and we will read usually about the art of loving. And after these readings, we usually would go and play soccer. And for us, the fun part was just going and play soccer with our friends, right? So after the reading, they will ask us like, hey, wait, what did you get from these readings? What did you get from these drawings? And we would always say, just so we could get to the soccer part, the answer is to love everyone, to love all, right? And as we grew up, the answer still is loving everyone. And reading this book, it just exemplifies so well what it means to love everyone, what it means, and what do you have to do to properly love them and to properly create an environment of love for the community that is around you. And for me, this book has been a real beautiful answer to what to say to people when they ask, hey, why are you this way, or why you're different, or why is it that in your house you can't like even breathe a different air, right? Because it's not me, it's not my mother, it's not my mom, it's not my father, it's not who lives there, it's what we're trying to do, because in personalities we're really different. And I think that's the beauty of this, that is a universal answer for people that really do want to live in an environment of love, right? So it's been a blessing, and as everyone was saying, nobody swims in the same river twice, and it's the same with this book. You cannot go back to it and read it, and you don't take the same things as you took last time, because you change, you grow and you evolve, and the book does that with you because it speaks to different parts of your soul depending on where you are. So thank you very much, Lara. I'm sure you all will enjoy very much this book, and your friends will do too. This is a book to be read in community and to be lived, and this is more important that every reading and everything that you could do with this book. This book is meant to be lived, not only read, not only shared. This book is meant to be lived, and doing that in a community will help you a lot more than if you just have it there on the shelf. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Exactly. And that is kind of the encouragement from today, is to get the book, to read it yourself, to do something that you've seen on one of the pages, and to find someone that you can share it with and live it together too. So I'll back over to Greg. Thank you.
Thank you, Lara. And really, I want to just pause for a second to say that for me, hearing these, hearing this witness to the book and to the message, really made me think. I mean, New City Press, as many of you know, is a part of Focolare Media, which the tagline for Focolare Media is to enkindle the spirit of unity. And I guess for me tonight, just hearing these, it felt that fire. I felt that kindling, and really working with Lara, on this book. There's a sense. I mean, I've been kind of around publishing off and on for like 30 years, and I think you all could feel that in her sharing, that this is about as pure of a vision for doing a book as you're ever going to encounter. And so we wanted to just actually take some time to share with you some things that you might do to share this message and to kind of spread that flame some. And so I'm going to begin. I'm just going to share my screen and walk you through a few things that you might consider. These will also be sent to you in an email. I think some of the links also will come into the chat box. But just some things that you can consider and be aware of. So New City Press is connected with Focolare Media, of which Living City is the magazine, award-winning magazine that we work together with, and has a great article with Lara about the book, about some of the things that you heard tonight. So it's just a great little summary, great little piece that we will share the link for. It's a great way for you to learn more about it, but also a great little thing that you can share with friends. So that was one element that we wanted to mention, and you get to see a beautiful picture as well. Picture is worth 1,000 words there too as well. Then I wanted to draw your attention. Some of you are joining us from Canada. And so for you, we have a Canadian distributor, Parasource, that has the book, and it will save you a lot of money of shipping. They have Living the Art of Loving. It notes here that it's coming to them soon. It's actually literally on the truck. It will be getting there in the next couple days. So if you're from Canada, this is where you're really going to be best served to get this book. And honestly, any of the New City Press books are carried for us in Canada through Parasource. Now, in the States, we want to mention a couple ways that you can access this book. If you're interested in just finding out about it for yourself, and you want to just get an individual copy of the book, we have the book at our website, and we're going to be sharing with you a coupon code where you can get the book at 20% discount for yourself. You can try it out. You can kind of see for yourself what it's like. And in fact, even at the link, you can read an excerpt and see it for yourself. So this is one way for you to access the book for your own. But like a lot of people have been sharing, this book is really meant to be read in community. And so I have to credit Lara herself, who came up with this beautiful tagline here, you and two. So we have an offer that's really intended to build on this idea of sharing the story and reading it in community, where you can buy the book, 2 copies of the book, and you get a 3rd copy for yourself for free. So you and 2. And so if you just go to our website, we'll put the link in. That's an offer that we have to kind of build on this idea of sharing the message, experiencing, in a sense, with others, living the art of loving. And then lastly, there's some things that we want to just suggest to you. Now, this will be some things that we might just suggest to you if you're really on fire for what Lara's doing and what this book is about. These are some ways that you can partner with her and with us in this book. So the first one is, as we say, easy peasy. Okay, this is not a high stress one. If you buy the book, wherever you buy it, you can, if you have an active Amazon account, you can write a review for the book on Amazon. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be philosophical. What you heard the people sharing tonight, what this book means to you, what the message means to you, put that in a review at Amazon. And that can be really helpful for the book on the biggest book selling site. You can also post when you get the book. Another simple thing is to just post a picture with the book on social media. We've seen some of Lara's friends doing this already. You can either post it yourself or you can send it to Lara. She'll put it on the book's website. But just kind of a natural thing that people are doing is just kind of getting the copy, sharing that they've gotten it, and passing that on to their friends. Now, something a little bit more bold, and social, is maybe you'd like to gift the book, maybe to family or friends or colleagues, or read it with someone, like as people have been sharing, maybe in a relationship you're in, or in a group setting. It's a fun way. It's a way to lead to different conversations. There's questions in the back of the book that are designed to really help you explore the themes and have discussions about it. So this is another way that you can kind of partner with Lara in the message of the book. And then here too, you can send her a picture. If you do it with friends, you can send her a picture and she'll share it on her website. A little riskier, but risky and rewarding, is maybe if you're a part of a small group or a book club, suggest this as a book that people might do. Maybe it would be a new, neat style of book to use. Sometimes book clubs get stuck in the same way. Maybe doing something different, like an illustrated book, would be a nice step that you could suggest for the book club or small group that you might be a part of. Or maybe even hosting a book reading at your house or local organization. you could connect with Lara, see if she might be able to join in by Zoom or some other way to the reading. And then really one that sometimes people overlook is to just suggest it to your local library. That is one of the best responsive ways that libraries have of getting books, is hearing from their patrons that this book is really valuable. And same way with your local bookstore. To share it with them, let them know about it, let them know the link to our website where they can find out about it, is another way that you could do to help us kind of share and spread some of this message of the book. So those were some things. We'll send along this document to you in an email, some of these links to you. But those were some things we just wanted to suggest to you of ways that you can kind of help build on the momentum that we've had tonight together. I also just wondered, Lara, if you have any, you've had a chance to kind of pause for a little bit here. And just to say if you have any kind of final thoughts or reflections, or if there's anybody who you've noticed who's here who you want to say hi to or anything like that. I just wanted to give you some final moment here.
Thank you. I actually haven't looked at the attendees. I was trying to be so present for all of our panelists. So how nice. I see a lot of family. I see many, I see some neighbors. I see my realtor who helped me buy my house. Hi, Delinda. I see some of the friends who were really early on in this process and people at all different points, a lot of unfamiliar names, people who have loved me at many, many stages, people who I work with professionally. I see people who have moved away. I see people who have always been with me. I see my parents. And one piece I want in, I see some of my best friends and again, more unfamiliar names. One of the points of this book for me, beyond, we've been talking about kind of the larger scope, but also in the smaller scope, is just that I see the good in you. And I know that if you're reading this book, you're looking for and you're seeing the good in me. And I think when we arrive together with that state of trust and belief in each other and are in the presence of mutual love, that then there is something better. There's a third thing that is better ideas, better solutions, more creativity, more kindness, and that's the point of this book. Why do you do the art of loving? Is because you want what you can't have by yourself. So that's my encouragement to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lara. And really thank you to all the people that were on the panel and were able to participate that way. And to some of those great voices that were on the excerpt too. We had a little bit of technical difficulty. Thank you for your patience, but we got there, and there was some it was really, really special to be able to hear it and experience it that way. But for now, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you all for coming.